Hello, my name is Arlene Whiteswan. Welcome to the Mysterious Domain. I'm going to share a film with you that has been really hard to find in the United States. I first saw it when I was living in England, and a friend of mine showed it to me. And I really loved it. And because I really loved it, he found me a copy of it. It's called Eye of the Devil, or 13. And it's really surprising that it's so obscure because it has an all-star cast. It has David Niven, it has Deborah Kerr, David Hemmings, Flora Robeson, and it features Sharon Tate. In fact, it's her first feature film. Of course, Eye of the Devil was filmed in 1966, directed by Lee Thompson, and it's really beautifully photographed. And if you are interested in secret societies and mystery religions and all of that symbolism, you're going to really have fun with this film because it has so much esoteric stuff in it that, I mean, I've seen it many times and I've kind of got to the bottom of it, but it's really got many layers of just really interesting esoteric lore. And if you've ever been a reader of things like The Golden Bough, you'll understand what's going on in this film. There is some interesting backstory. For one, originally the Deborah Kerr role was going to be played by Kim Novak. And frankly, I think she laid eyes on Sharon Tate, who was much younger than her, found herself in the mother role, and really rebelled and said, I'm a sex symbol. I'm not going to play this, mother role, right? It's definitely a demotion for a sex symbol. And she was so upset that she fell off a horse and was injured and had to leave the film. And then they cast Deborah Kerr. Since there's a lot of witchcraft in this film, they hired Alex and Maxine Sanders of Alexandrian Wicca as consultants. And Sharon Tate, in her zeal to research her role, met with them for instructions and actually became initiated into Alexandrian Wicca. So when you later hear stories about her being a member of the cult, basically it was Alexandrian Wicca. Make of it what you will. It's not, I have a hard time seeing it as extremely sinister, although I do think it has a lot of kind of, and you'll see it in this film, kind of Holy Grail aspects to it. Basically, the story is about a man in modern-day Paris with his family. He's a French aristocrat. They're played by British people, but they're not English. They're supposed to be French, and anyone who's been to Paris can tell by the opening scene at Gare du Nord, and you can see Paris is there. And they're very wealthy and very happy. And he is summoned away to his ancestral home. And it all seems very ominous, and it's all very worrying. And he tells his wife and kids to stay home, but they don't do that. And a very eerie and haunting series of events unfold. And because this is a very primal story that takes place down in a place in France called Brive in the wine country. And so there's a lot of stuff about the harvest. There's a lot of stuff about the grapes. There's a lot of stuff about the fertility of the land and things like that. And you'll see, and I hope you really enjoy this. This is, like I said, it's a film that bears watching many times because it's so full of symbolism, and you can have a really good time deciphering things, as the story is a mystery, and the mystery is very intriguing and it unfolds. So I hope you enjoy The Eye of the Devil, and take care. Thank you for watching. Oh, and if you want to like and share and subscribe and all that stuff, that would be fabulous. So take care. Bye-bye. I hope you really enjoyed that film. Now I wanted to add a little backstory, mostly about Sharon Tate, because I think anyone could agree that this film would not be anywhere near as compelling as it is without the presence of Sharon Tate as Odile de Carré. One story I heard, of course, she was living in England, and she was at the time dating Roman Polanski because they were also in the process of filming the Fearless Vampire Killers. I'm not quite sure what the deal was. Eye of the Devil is supposed to be her first feature film, yet she didn't meet Roman Polanski until she was in Fearless Vampire Killers. So, I mean, maybe they were being filmed simultaneously, and the Fearless Vampire Killers was released later. It was a lot more of a high budget production, I think. I mentioned at the beginning of Eye of the Devil that she had been cast in this role of Odile, who's a witch. Now, in England at the time, there was a notorious, I guess you could say, Wicca coven called Alexandrian Wicca, led by a man called Alex Sanders and his wife Maxine Sanders. And apparently they were on television all the time in the UK. So they were sort of popularizing Wicca, basically. And Maxine Sanders, you know, she was the 60s babe, you know, with the long, light blonde hair and, you know, tall and slim, and just had the, you know, eye makeup. And she was that look. And in Eye of the Devil, you can see that Sharon Tate also has that look. In 2008, Maxine Sanders self-published her autobiography called Firechild. And in Firechild, she shows photographs of her and Alex Sanders and a couple other people initiating Sharon Tate into witchcraft. I mean, basically, I think they were showing her what witches did. But Sharon also felt called to join Alexandrian Wicca, and she was initiated into it. So when you hear stories about, like, this guy, Doc Marquis, who's no longer with us, had been on Oprah talking about Sharon being murdered because she was in the cult and she wanted to leave the cult, and that was, you know, once you're in, you're not allowed to get out. So they basically, he called it a witch's hit. I mean, that could be the case, but I also found something out in the last couple of years. There was an interview with a lawyer that Sharon had been seeing in England during 1969 when she was pregnant with her baby, and she and Roman Polanski were in England. And there's been a lot of not very nice stuff that's been revealed about their marriage. And he said, and this is the first time I'd heard this, that she'd been filing divorce papers against Roman Polanski, which, considering the things that I've heard, and I'm not going to repeat them here, I wouldn't blame her. You know, it comes as no surprise. So Roman Polanski, of course, had initially wanted to cast her in Rosemary's Baby as Rosemary, but that didn't work out. And you can see her briefly in the party scene in Rosemary's Baby. It's like if you don't slow down the video, you miss it. And he had been consulting with Anton LaVey about that witchcraft scene in Rosemary's Baby. And you can see actually his book on their bed, like on the back of their bed is like a bookcase, and the Satanic Bible is sitting on it. And why would the Woodhouses have that before they met their neighbors, right? But it was there. So getting back to Sharon, She was initiated into Alexandrian Wicca. She was pregnant with her baby, and apparently, allegedly, she was also filing divorce papers against Roman Polanski and went back to California, and we know what happened to her, tragically. So, but I do have this book called Fire Child, and I wanted to show you some of the photographs of Sharon with them learning the rituals that would pertain to her character of Odile in Eye of the Devil. It's basically only one page in the book, but I've kind of blown some of it up so you can see it. So I hope you enjoy this little bit of backstory. And there's still a lot of speculation about why Sharon was done in the way she was. But it's possible that it wasn't because she was leaving Wicca, or who knows how deep she got into the Hollywood cult. But it could have been because she was leaving Roman Polanski. And there's also the fact that when Sharon went back to California, she was hanging out with her former fiance, Jay Sebring. There's lots of photographs of them. In fact, there were publicity photos of her pregnancy when she was in California in like the National Enquirer and that kind of thing. It was very exaggerated and sensationalized. And for all anyone knows, there might have been a little jealousy there going on with Roman Polanski about her hanging out with her former fiance and filing divorce papers against him. I'm kind of disappointed about Roman Polanski because he's made some of my favorite films. And unfortunately, he's not a good guy. So I hope this adds to your enjoyment of the film. So thank you. I'm so happy you stayed till the end. Take care.